everyone. My name is Patrick. You're watching the Oilers Rundown, broadcast on the Oilers Fanatic and the Heavy Hockey Network. It's once again game day as the Edmonton Oilers get set to take on the Colorado Avalanche tonight at 7 p.m. at Rogers Place. It's the Oilers' final game before a 2-week Four Nations break for most of the team. Connor McDavid, Victor Arvidsson, and Mattias Ekholm will all be participating for their various countries in the Four Nations tournament, but the rest of the team will get a much-deserved, and in my opinion anyway, a much-needed break here. So the Oilers hoping to close out with one more win here on a high note. They're in first place in the Pacific, got a couple wins under their belt here, so it would be nice to get one more win, especially over a rival like the Colorado Avalanche, but we'll see. We talked about it on the Oilers Live podcast last night on the Heavy Hockey Network. Sometimes the Edmonton Oilers already have one foot out the door in vacation mode, but let's hope they can show up for one more strong game tonight against the Avalanche, who should be a very good opponent to judge how someone like John Klingberg is coming along. He'll once again be paired with Darnell Nurse tonight. I'll take a look at the full expected roster for tonight's game in a moment, but did want to point out a few things here beforehand. Insider Bob Stauffer posting this yesterday. The Edmonton Oilers have the best record in the NHL since November 7th, going 28-9-3, a winning percentage of .738. So obviously that's fantastic to see. The Edmonton Oilers are going into the upcoming trade deadline here on a high note. TSN insider and athletic reporter Pierre Lebrun did an interview with Oilers GM Stan Bowman, and there was a few interesting tidbits in that article. These are the ones that I picked out. The Oilers going into the trade deadline are apparently looking for a left shot depth D-man. They're really happy, obviously, with Ekholm, Nurse, and Kulak, but they will need some depth there if one of those guys goes down in the playoffs. They'll also be looking for a bottom six winger or a center, depending on where Ryan Nugent-Hopkins draws in. Whether the Oilers put Nuge on the wing or play him at center will obviously be a big factor in that. For that bottom six forward, they're looking for somebody with size. Jason Strudwick, who was also interviewed in the article, put out an example of Jordan Greenway, who's a pending UFA with the Buffalo Sabres, as a possible target the Edmonton Oilers could go after there. So we'll see what happens, but Jordan Greenway would certainly make some sense. And GM Stan Bowman also noted that the Oilers are not looking for a goaltender right now. He's really happy with the performance of Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. So for those out there that want to see the Oilers add a goalie before the trade deadline, you're likely to be disappointed. Maybe GM Stan Bowman's playing a little coy here and he actually is going for a goaltender, but he's saying here that he's not. So I think probably take him at his word that he's happy with Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. The Oilers have been the best team, as Bob Stauffer pointed out there, since November, so that usually doesn't point to the team looking for a new number one goaltender or even a 1B goaltender at this point. So maybe they surprise us, but at this point, I would be surprised if the Oilers do add a goaltender before the trade deadline. And obviously, a lot will depend on the play of John Klingberg. So far, so good. He's kind of looked okay, but he is just coming in off of not playing for over 14 months. So if John Klingberg continues to excel in that top four role with Darnell Nurse, the Oilers will just be looking for a left shot depth D-man. But if John Klingberg does struggle, that may switch to a top 4D. And not mentioned in the article, but the Oilers obviously still waiting on word from Evander Kane. What's happening with him will affect a lot of things as to what the Oilers can actually do at the trade deadline. The smart money is on Evander Kane not playing before the playoffs, but let's see what the Oilers announce here over the coming weeks. And here's a look at the expected lineup for the Edmonton Oilers as they get set to take on the Colorado Avalanche. It will be a top line of Victor Arvidsson, Connor McDavid, and Zach Hyman, a second line of Jeff Skinner, Leon Draisaitl, and Vasily Podkolzin. On the third line, Mattias Janmark, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Connor Brown. And on the fourth line, Corey Perry, Adam Henrique, and Kasperi Kapanen. On the blue line, Ekholm and Bouchard, Nurse and Klingberg, Kulak and Emberson, and Stuart Skinner is expected to get the starting goal tonight. As Tony Brower notes here, Stuart Skinner recorded his third 20-win season with 20 saves in St. Louis on Tuesday. He's 20, 12, and 4 with a 2.68 goals against average and a .902 save percentage this season. Well, that's all I have for now, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the notes from GM Stan Bowman. Do you want to see a goalie come in? Is there other needs that you think the Edmonton Oilers need to fill? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If this is your first visit to the channel and you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing for all the latest Oilers content. You've been watching the Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan.